Hey everyone, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. In this video, we are going to review some of the test questions on our fraction decimal percent test. These are the following questions that we're going to review, including the bonus. I'm going to start with the bonus first. The bonus said, at Yamato's, dinner for the Smith family costs $125.75. How much will they spend total if there is a 7% tax on food and they want to leave a 25% tip? Solve on a separate sheet. So what we need to do is we need to find 7% of our bill. So I need to multiply our bill, $125.75, by 7%. And I'm not going to show you how to multiply that, but you should definitely know. As you multiplied out, our digits should have been 88025. And I have 4 digits behind my decimal place. Okay. A quick estimation of 10% of 125.75 would have been 12.57, yada, yada, yada. So my answer should be a little bit less than $12. So where does it make sense to put the decimal here? 8.8025. I'm going to round to the nearest penny. So 0 is in my pennies place, and in my thousands place I have a 2. So my tax is going to be $8.80. Now we need to find tip. So my bill times 25%. Your digits should have been 314375. And remember, 10% is going to be $12 and some odd cents. So 20% is going to be $24 and some odd cents. If I want to find a tip of 25%, where does it make sense to put the decimal? Well, I know it's going to be more than $24 by a little bit, so my decimal needs to go here. Or, in other words, I have 4 place values behind my decimal, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Rounding to the nearest penny here, I have a 3 looking at the 7. When I round to the nearest penny, I have $31.44. So the last thing I need to do is I need to take the bill. Let's try this. I need to take my bill, $125.75, and I need to add my $8.80 in addition to my $31.44. Make sure all of your decimals are lined up. I'm going to use a calculator quickly to save some time, but obviously on your test you should have, you know how to add. Okay, so when I add everything up, we get $165.99. I gave you some points if you were a few pennies off or if you were close to it. So that was the bonus, and that's how you would find the answer. Congratulations to those of you who got that. Let's take a look at the other questions on here. Number 2, what is 2% written as a decimal? Well, a percentage, remember, is out of 100. 2% is 2 out of 100. And if you think about this, how do I say this? Well, I say it as 2/100ths. If I'm going to write 2/100ths, it's 0.02. The other trick that you should know is that to go from a percent to a decimal, P to D, I'm at a percent the letter P in the alphabet and I want to get to D, a decimal, I need to travel to the left. So I move my place value once, twice to the left, 0.02. That should be your answer. Number 3 says, what's 38% written as a fraction? Obviously in simplest form. So like you know already, percents are out of 100. 38% is 38 out of 100. But a common factor that I have here is 2. So let's cut these in half. 38 cut in half is 19. And 100 cut in half is 50. So that should have been your answer for number 3. Number 7, find 230% of 46. Estimating wise, 230% is a big percentage. What's 100% of 46? Well, 100% is all. So 100% of 46 is 46. If I want to find 230%, my answer should be much bigger than 46. And it's going to be bigger than 46 twice. So you could use mental math, but to calculate it, I'm going to move my decimal once, twice. So 230% as a decimal is 2.3, and I'm going to multiply that by 46. The digits that you should have are 1, 0, 5, 8. We have one place value behind the decimal, so I'm going to move it once. If you were estimating, though, my answer should have been bigger than 46. So if I had my decimal here at 10.58, that doesn't make sense. So, and likewise, if you had your decimal at behind the 8, that's much too big. So here should be your final answer. Also, what is 18% of 95? Well, to estimate 10% of 95 is 9.5. And 9.5 twice is 19. So if I'm looking for 18% instead of 20%, which is 19, my answer should be a little bit smaller than 19. When you multiply out 95 times 18% as a decimal, your digits are 171. But I'm looking for 18%. We estimated that my answer should be a little less than 19, so it makes sense that my decimal goes here. 17.1. If you don't understand estimating, as you multiplied out, you should have 1710. I have two place values behind the decimal, so I moved my decimal place twice. All right. The next question that you guys needed help with was putting these in order from least to greatest, which was number 10. I would change everything to a decimal, and I would line them up, line our decimals up as well. 75% is 0.75. 1/6 we need to divide out. 1 divided by 6. 6 does not go into 1, but 6 goes into 10 once. And then bring down my 0. 6 goes into 40 6 times, and this goes on forever. I know a lot of you figured this out. Okay. So I have 0.75. I'm going to line up the decimals over here. 1/6 is 0.16 repeating. I have 0.625. 3/8 you also need to divide out. 8 does not go into 3, but 8 goes into 30 3 times. As you divide this out, you should get 375 thousandths. So lining up my decimals here, if I look at my tenths place, I'm drawing with a mouse, which is not very easy. when I look at my tens place, I can clearly see what's the smallest and what's the largest. So my 0.166 repeating is the smallest. That's 1/6. He goes first. Next is my 3, 0.375. Back in its original form is 3/8, so it comes next. My 0.625 comes next. And last is this guy right here. In my 10th place, I have a 7, which is the biggest. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. 625. And then finally, 75 hundredths in its original form is 75%. This is the order. The strategy I used here was to change everything to a decimal. And then I lined up my decimals and looked at the place values to decide what's small, what's the middle, and what's the largest. Let's take a look at the next problem. Y'all wanted what is 12 and 8 hundredths written as a mixed number. Listen to what I said, 12 and 8 hundredths. So 12 and 8 hundredths. Obviously, we want everything in simplest form. So I can divide these by a common factor. My 12 is not changing. Okay, I'm just simplifying. I'm not changing the value. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And 100 divided by 4 is 25. So here is your answer. Number 12 says, Tanya scored 23 out of 25 on her science test. What was her score as a percentage? Well, what's a percent out of? A percent is out of 100. So I'm going to create an equivalent fraction. 25 times 4 is 100. So 23 times 4. Some of you didn't pay attention to detail. Go nice and slow, okay? As you multiply this through, you got 92. So 92 out of 100 as a percentage is 92%. Everyone's favorite question was number 13. Anthony scored 13 out of 15 on his math test. What was his score as a percentage? So your thought process, I know some of you tried to set this up as an equivalent fraction, but the problem is I can't multiply 15. I can't multiply 15 by a whole number to get 100. So we need to go a different route and we need to divide here. 15 doesn't go into 13. How many times does 15 go into 130? Well, that's 8 times, because 8 times 15 is 120. I have a remainder of 10. Bring down another 0. And 15 goes into 100 6 times, because 6 times 15 is 90. I'm going to run into my next problem here. So we have 0.86 repeating because my remainder is 10, which is just like before. And so I would have accepted a lot of different answers. Since the 6 repeats, we could round to the nearest hundredth, which would be 0.87, which simplifies to 87%. I would have also accepted 86%, and I also would have accepted 86.6 or 86.7%. All of these are possible answers. Okay. So strategy-wise, if we can't find a direct relationship between 15 and 100, then we need to divide through. Let's take a look at 14. The bill for lunch is $38. How much money should you leave for a 20% tip? This question could quickly be solved using my 10% trick. So 10% of 38 is 3.8. And if I want to find a 20% tip, well, I can add 3.8 plus 3.8 together, because this is 10% and this is another 10%. So when I add these together, I get 7.6, which is $7.60. I took off points if you didn't include units, so be careful. Number 15, there's 30 students in the class and 60% of the class are boys. How many boys are in the class? I used my 10% trick. This is not true. 10% of 30 is 3. So if I want to find 60%, well, here's 10%, here's 20%, here's 30%, here's 40%, and I could go on until I get to 60%, or I could just take 10% and multiply by 6 because we want 60%. We get 18 either way. Okay, so how many boys are in the class? 18. 18 boys. Again, I took off for units. Make sure you're including units here. All right. I think this is close to the end. On a recent vote, 1/5 of the class preferred strawberry ice cream, 9/50 preferred vanilla, and 35% preferred chocolate. We'll put these ice creams flavors in order from least preferred to most preferred. My strategy here is I was going to change everything to a percent. A percent out of 100. 5 times 20 is 100. So 1 times 20 is 20. So 1/5, 1 out of every 5, means 20% of the kids preferred strawberry. If I'm looking at 9/50, 50 times 2 is 100. 9 times 2 is 18. So 18% preferred vanilla and 35% preferred chocolate. So I took off points because the question's asking put the ice cream flavors in order, not the numbers. The numbers are important, but then you need to translate it back. So the least preferred was 9 out of 50, which is vanilla. And then 20% represents strawberry. And then 35% is chocolate. So I was looking for vanilla, strawberry, and then chocolate as your answer here. Number 20 asks, Tabitha has $45 to spend at Town Center, and the sweater she wants costs $42, but there's an 8% tax on clothing. Does she have enough money to buy the sweater? Explain your reasoning. We need to find 8% of $42. We need to find 8% of 42 because 42 represents how much the sweater costs. Some of you found 8% of 45, but you don't want to tax the money that Tabitha has in her pocket. You want to tax the money that the sweater is worth. If I'm estimating, 10% of 42 is 4.2. So 8% of 42 is going to be a little bit less. As we multiply 42 times 800ths, you should have gotten the digits 336. But remember, my answer is going to be a little less than 4.2. So it makes sense that my decimal goes here. So now, the tax is $3.36. I need to add the tax to the price of my sweater. So $42 plus $3.36. When I add these together, the total cost of the sweater is $45.36. I'm running out of room, but if I'm going to answer the question, does she have enough money? Does she? Well, the sweater and tax cost $45.36. So Tabitha doesn't have enough money. I need to move this. So why doesn't she have enough money? Okay, sorry about that. I'm running out of space. So, to answer the question in words, right here would be an appropriate answer. Tabitha doesn't have enough money. The cost of the sweater plus taxes, $45.36, which is more than $45. I would have accepted several other answers. However, I took off points if you found 8% of 45 or if you had some miscalculations in here. Okay, I hope that this video helped you answer some of your questions, and thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to figure out your mistakes. Bye.